Tonight, the home so mouldy a doctor recommends getting out. The government is trying to crack down on landlords, urging tenants to complain, but the tenant in this home says it does no good.
It puts a strain on me mentally. You know, I don't like seeing them sick. The most frustrating part is that you report it, but nothing gets done about it.
Also on the programme, the freezing weather causes disruption on the roads, with some drivers stranded for hours. The charity boss at the centre of the royal race row steps down. Train walkouts are suspended, but beware the tube strikes coming down the line. And
I'm at the Peckhamplex premiere of Ryan Lane. It's the rom-com set in South London with a soundtrack to match.
good evening. This week, the government is urging tenants to complain about landlords who don't carry out timely repairs. It comes after the scandal of people living in damp and mouldy homes, which ITV News has spent the last year exposing. Well, tonight, yet another example of just how hard it is for tenants to actually get lasting repairs carried out. Terry Harrigan and her 3-year-old child have been living in a flat in Hackney so mouldy, even her GP is urging her to move. Hackney Council has washed and painted her walls 4 times, only for the black, pungent growth to return. She's been speaking to our reporter, Rags Martel.
Hiya, are you okay?
Hiya.
It's a welcoming home.
Come in.
Come in.
But one with dangerous health hazards.
So yeah, this is the girls' room.
For almost 4 years, Terry Harrigan and her family have been living with constant black mould.
This is some of it. We've recently washed this mould because obviously where they're sleeping in here, we don't want it to get too bad.
As a mother, how do you feel having your daughter sleeping next to so much mould?
I'm not happy about it. It's quite stressful, especially like if one of them get ill, and then it automatically have to think, you know, is it because they're sleeping right next to this, or what's the reason? And
do you notice your daughter getting sick with respiratory issues more often?
Yeah, so Ariella she's sick every 2 to 3 weeks with some form of cold or respiratory issues, so we always end up in the hospital, or we'll end up at the doctors, who then send us up to A&E because she just can't breathe very well when she gets sick. Smile. Smile.
But the mould is in every room.
So one of the worst places is the bathroom. Here and my bedroom is the worst.
And there doesn't seem to be any escape for your daughter. Like, she sleeps, even when she's having a bath, she has mould everywhere.
Yeah. I don't want to touch that bit up there because I don't know if that's electrics or I don't know what's in that box. So that little corner piece up there, I haven't wanted to touch.
We don't touch.
Concerned for the family's health, a GP has urged the council to ensure safe living conditions. And mould can be deadly. 2-year-old Awab Ishak died of a respiratory condition after breathing in mouldy toxins in a small Rochdale flat. The so-called Awab's Law is part of the social housing reform bill going through Parliament, and Housing Secretary Michael Gove has been critical of councils who are slow to make repairs to mould problems.
How frustrating is that, just knowing that your daughter's sick because of the mould?
It's extremely frustrating. It puts a strain on me mentally. You know, I don't like seeing them sick. The most frustrating part is that you report it, but nothing gets done about it.
Hackney Council is the landlord. They've apologised to Terry with a promise to fix the problem, but other residents in this block have similar damp issues.
So we had to move.
But despite political pressure and promises of social housing improvements, 3-year-old Ariella will go to bed tonight, sleeping next to deadly mould. Rags Martel, ITV News, Hackney.
Well, the way Lambeth Council handles complaints and repairs was criticised today by the Housing Secretary. Michael Gove wrote to the borough saying he was appalled to read how 3 cases were handled, including complaints about damp, mould and a vulnerable resident left without heating and hot water. Lambeth Council said they are focused on making improvements to day-to-day repairs and maintenance, with 10 new firms and a new in-house repairs team assigned to the task. Next tonight, many of you will have woken up to snow outside this morning, unusual for March and causing a fair bit of disruption, especially on the roads. A severe weather warning alert, meant some highways were restricted to essential trips only. From Surrey, Carolyn Sim has the latest.
The Arctic blast brought the bleak midwinter back, coating Guildford in 3 inches of snow. With schools open, only pets were out to play. That was a good one. Spring flowers, which were about to bloom, poked through the snow in the castle grounds. And neighbours got stuck in with shovels.
It's a sort of community spirit of it as well, so you just get out and do something. And, you know, even if it's going to go in half an hour's time, you feel you've done something.
You're still in your dressing gown, though.
Any excuse to go outside in a dressing gown, really.
It was an overnight surprise no one wanted. Lorries stuck in snow caused hold-ups on the A3, as National Highways earlier warned of difficult driving conditions. Elsewhere, it was a pretty picture in Greenwich, as was the snowfall after dawn prayers at this mosque in Morden. At warm hubs like this one, hot tea was offered and a chance to come in from the cold.
Just been grey, and it's felt like the sun's not going to come back, and that just has a massive effect on everybody's both in their mental health in terms of feeling a bit down, but also just feeling tired.
Last night was officially the coldest night of the year so far, with temperatures of minus 15.2 in Scotland. Thankfully, that's not the case here, with rain expected for tonight. And by tomorrow, we're looking at far more reasonable temperatures of 9 or 10 degrees. But on higher ground, the gritters will be out all night tonight as rain melts the snow to form ice.
How unusual is this to happen in March?
It's becoming more common, but we're ready. And with all the forecast that we have now, we're much more ready in relation to responding to these sorts of circumstances.
It may not be that unusual to have a cold snap in March, but after a long, difficult winter, spring surely must come soon. Carolyn Sim, ITV News, Guildford.
What's going to happen this evening, Sally?
Well, things are turning increasingly rainy. We can take a look at our snowdar now, Duncan, and you can see from this that it's been a messy old picture across the capital today. We've had a mixture of rain, sleet and snow, but as we've gone through the afternoon and more particularly into this evening, many areas where they've had snow being replaced with rain. There is one exception, that is to the far north and west, where we have still got a warning in place for the risk of snow and ice. But as I said, we go through the night and into tomorrow, many areas more likely to see rain.
OK, see you in about 20 minutes. Thank you, Sally. Well, snow aside, there will be more disruption next week for commuters. Tube strikes are going ahead, despite those by Network Rail staff being suspended. Political correspondent Simon Harris is at King's Cross for us now. Simon, take us through what we can expect then.
Well, as you say, Duncan, the good news for commuters is that the disruption to mainline trains on Thursday won't be as bad as it might have been after the RMT suspended a strike by its members who work for Network Rail. They're now considering a revised pay offer. The bad news, though, is that Wednesday's tube strike is still very much on, and it's almost certain to bring the entire system, the underground, to a complete standstill, which, if the weather is anything like this, is going to make it very grim for people trying to get to work. This is part of a long-running dispute over possible changes to TfL's pension scheme. But for the first time, both the RMT and the drivers' union, ASLEF, have chosen to walk out on the same day.
Unfortunately, the strike will be very disruptive if it goes ahead next Wednesday. There's still time to call it off, of course. We very much hope they would do that. There will be little or no service on the underground, so customers should avoid travelling on the underground. But the good news is that the rest of the TfL services will be running normally, including the Elizabeth line.
In addition to the tube strike on Wednesday, there are also further strikes by RMT members who work for some of the train companies. Those are on Thursday and Saturday. And again, that dispute is over pay.
OK, Simon at King's Cross, thank you very much. Nearly 200 flats in Hackney Wick have been without drinking water for almost 2 weeks now due to reports of a contaminated drinking tank. Residents in the new building are relying on bottled water that's delivered to them, while Thames Water investigates. A man has pleaded not guilty to the murder of a man whose remains were found in a pond in Harlow on New Year's Eve. Police said Philip Lewis's body had probably been there for weeks. A trial will take place in August. The London charity boss at the centre of a royal race row has stepped down. Ngozi Fulani, who's founder and chief executive of the domestic violence organisation Sister Space, says she's had to because of the backlash she's faced after complaining about comments made by a courtier at a palace reception. Cafe Pata has more.
Victims of domestic abuse can feel safe in.
For several years, Ngozi Fulani has dedicated her life to helping vulnerable women from Afro-Caribbean communities. Today, however, she's putting her life's work on hold.
So what I've had to do, I've now temporarily stepped down as CEO of Sister Space. I am announcing that now because the service users and the community can't access us properly. This whole thing has cost us a fortune.
Last year, Ngozi was thrust into the public eye after a race row with Buckingham Palace. Lady Susan Hussey, the late Queen's lady-in-waiting, asked Ngozi several times at a palace event where she was from, even after she'd been told she was British. The public nature of the incident led to unwanted attention for both Ngozi and her charity. She says she received abuse, which is also one of the reasons she's resigned.
The Sister Space charity has suffered as a result, direct result. When you think that this was supposed to be for violence against women and girls, because of this incident, the violence has been directed to me. The palace hasn't intervened. I think they could have.
Last year, Buckingham Palace released a statement apologising to Ngozi. Last night, another statement in which they said, "For the avoidance of any doubt, we are deeply sorry for the incidents that took place and apologise for the distress and difficulty it's caused to Miss Fulani."
Address your sister and just say thank you for speaking and we feel your pain.
Gone but not forever, Ngozi Fulani said her resignation is only temporary and hopes to return soon. Kaf Opata, ITV News.
Coming up, Sally will be back with the latest on the snow, and the London boxer who's vying for her third world title, plus a little bit of Hollywood comes to Peckham. We'll be on the red carpet for the film Rye Lane. But first, it's International Women's Day, and a good day for the dream of two London football stars to come true. Lionesses Leah Williamson and Lotte Wubben-Moy have been campaigning for all schoolgirls to have equal access to football, so they were thrilled by the government's pledge of £600 million to make it happen.
Today we've achieved the first step towards building our legacy. Thank you so much for your support and for the support of so many teachers and schools across the country as well. We can't wait to see what comes off of building this legacy.
And the impact's going to be massive. It's just the beginning.
Well, a women's football club in Barnet is already nurturing new talent. The Nightingales have been offering a free 6-month coaching programme to any girls to try and find its future stars. Sally Biddulph has been to one of their training sessions.
She shoots, she scores. Girls' football is growing fast, and a grassroots club in North London is giving every girl the chance to try. Barnet Nightingales has started a 26-week community training programme that's free and open to any girl aged 6 to 16 every weekday night.
I come on Mondays and Thursdays, and mostly we do some drills and play some matches. The best bit about football is running around and scoring goals and making new friends.
The net has been cast wide and has so far attracted 50 new players from across Barnet, Haringey and Enfield. For seasoned players, it's a welcome addition.
It makes me feel very happy because more girls can learn more stuff, new skills, be together and be a part of a team.
The sessions at Power League in Muswell Hill are something the club has been planning for a while, made possible by sponsorship from the building company behind a huge new development in Cricklewood.
Oh, great save! I think it was important for us because we needed to make sure that we got girls from all backgrounds and sort of all economic backgrounds especially. And with the sponsorship from Brent Cross Town, which has been absolutely invaluable, it means we've been able to put these sessions on.
As well as UEFA coaches, professional players from the London City Lionesses are also acting as role models. They want girls to see all the opportunities that football can bring.
It's not just the football on the pitch that they can be involved in if they want to be involved in women's football. There's so many other things that they can do, like being a coach or a referee or a physio or a doctor. But in order to keep football growing and thriving, we need to keep the bottom end healthy.
The nightly sessions run all the way till August, finishing just before the Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. These budding future stars will be watching. Sally Biddulph, ITV News.
From the football stars of the future to a Londoner who's clinching titles in the boxing ring.
And the new European Super Bantamweight champion, Ellie Scotney.
This is Ellie Scotney from Catford winning her European title belt. She also won a WBA Intercontinental title recently, and there is more to come. I'm delighted to say Ellie joins me now. Your name sounds fantastic when it's said like that, doesn't it? Drawing out the Scotney for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, you did quite a good job repeating it, though,
Thank
to be
you very
honest.
much. I mean, that must have been an amazing experience.
Yeah, every time I get in the ring, you know, it's the moments we live for and it's growing every time, so I'm buzzing to be part of it.
This is the bling here, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is incredible. Where do you keep it at home?
Oh, my mum hides it under the bed, to be honest. Until it's a world one, we're not allowed to put it on show.
She's going to have to move it now. You said that on TV,
Yeah,
aren't you? There it is in all its glory, shimmering. So, listen, tell me, it's International Women's Day.
Yeah.
So how is women's boxing changing?
It's changing every day, you know. I feel like with women's boxing, we're getting recognised as real fighters now, and there's young people that are looking up, boys and girls that are looking up to women fighters and thinking, do you know what? One day I can be like them. So it's really making strides and I'm buzzing to be part of it.
Do you take that role as role model seriously?
Yeah, at the time you don't really see it. Like I looked up to, you know, Katie Taylor, Jane Couch, and now I feel like someone could be looking up to me at home, and it really does drive me.
As you say, it's getting better day by day. Well, what's it like for sponsorship? Because that's often really tricky, isn't it? Because you need to train, you need to go off for matches. That's a lot while trying to hold down work. You have to devote yourself to it, don't you?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I've had 2 sponsors come on board this year, so I'm really excited and honoured to have them, Thrive Talent as well. So, yeah, it is a strain, but, you know, I'm privileged and it's a blessing to be in my position.
So that's made all the difference.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got involved in this when you were younger.
I used to follow my brother around. I was his little shadow that no one wanted. So he never really wanted to take me to the gym, and he gave in the end. But, you know, women's boxing wasn't what it is now. So I was the only one. They used to hide me in the hot room. And yeah, I used to run round and be buzzing to get a Snickers bar at the end, to be honest. But, you know, times evolved and, you know, there's a lot of young, fresh, new women coming through.
You went pro in your early 20s, didn't you? Yeah. What made that decision happen?
I just see how it was growing. You know, I seen Katie Taylor headlining, and she's always been someone I've looked up to. So when I see that that was a route I could have taken, it was a possibility, it was a no-brainer for me, and, you know, I love every minute. What comes next then this year? Big year for you? Yeah, next is a world title. So, you know, God willing, I've got to put a lot of work in, but, you know, I'm on the cusp of it now. I'm mandatory challenger for the IBF, so we're waiting for that fight to be ordered. Well, the anticipation is building. Listen, lots of luck to you. Wonderful to speak to you, Ellie, and thank you for bringing your belt in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you. Now, is Peckham the new Notting Hill? At least in terms of films, it's getting the rom-com treatment.
It's Dom, right? I'm Yaz.
Nice to meet you. I'm gonna meet my ex for the first time since the breakup.
And you're still calling it the breakup.
I thought we were fine. We were better than fine.
It's called Rye Lane, and rather than Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts, it stars some homegrown London talent, and they are down on the red carpet in Peckham with Daniel Henry. Dan, you know Peckham. Does the movie match the manor then?
Does the movie match the manor? Well, the manor that I saw when I was living in Peckham was one that had great creativity, incredible food, wonderful people. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, obviously, like any other area, but there was a real sense of community here, and I think that's what the people behind Rye Lane have managed to capture on camera. And I'm joined now by the 2 lead actors, David and Vivian. Lovely to meet you both. Out in the Big break, Yellow.
Come on, gotta represent Cortez always. Come on, London, summer.
You know, so guys, tell me about Rye Lane. You know, it's about to come out, so not many people have seen it. Only you guys will have seen it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, what can people expect?
Joy.
Joy,
Joy.
happiness. I mean, it's a film about these two young people that are reeling from bad breakups, and they find each other and just experience joy and happiness. And it's a different portrayal of a Peckham that we both know, but we haven't probably seen on screen so much. So we're blessed to be a part of this.
Definitely.
Really.
Yeah.
And this is your first feature film. I mean, I think people will have seen you, David, in Industry, and they've probably would have seen you, Vivian, in I May Destroy You. But this is both of your first times up on the big screen.
Yeah, it's super surreal to be first time here, have the film premiere at Sundance, have it come home to Peckhamplex for the premiere. It's just been a surreal experience, and we're so blessed and feel so lucky, honestly. Yeah.
And what about you, David? You were saying that your family are here tonight.
Yeah, it's a London film, and I've been really busy, but I've been working abroad quite a lot. So to bring it back home, not just to home, but like Peckham, like my family had to show up. So I got my mum, my brother, my sister all happy and rooting for me. So I'm happy. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I was thinking about was that you've spoken about the armour that black men like us carry walking around Britain, and it just made me think: do we see some of that come off in this film?
Absolutely. This film is a romantic comedy and it has all the traits of it, but equally kind of breaks all those rules. My character Dom is like, he's a South London boy. He loves football. He loves his missus, but equally he's heavily emotional.
He loves to cry.
He loves to cry as well.
Like the rest of us.
Yeah. So it's nice to see some of that armour break, and I definitely try and do that as an actor to shine a bit more light on what it means to be young, black, British, and just all of us. Yeah.
And what about you, Vivian? I mean, what do you think about your character?
Yeah, Yaz absolutely disrupts the conventional female lead in a rom-com. She is chaotic and unapologetically messy, and she's curious and brash, but she's also insecure and she's afraid of herself because she's on this big escapist mission, and she drags Dom along with her, and it was a lot for me, Vivian, to keep up with her, but yeah, I was endeared towards her. She's special for sure.
Amazing. Well, guys, absolute pleasure to meet you both. Best of luck with the film. So for anyone who is looking to see it, March 17th, out in all cinemas in the UK.
Brilliant, Daniel. Thank you very much. The ITV News continues at 6:30. Here's a look ahead now with Lucrezia.
Coming up, an Arctic blast sweeps across the UK, closing schools and cancelling flights. An amber weather warning is in force for yet more heavy snow tonight, with the cold snap set to continue this week. Also ahead, Gary Lineker says he won't stop speaking out after calls he should quit the BBC for slamming the government's illegal immigration plans. The celebrity weight loss jab to be made available on the NHS, and the unlikely friendship between a farmer and a crane. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Let's return to one of our main stories now, the snow that's hit London and the southeast. Parts of Surrey, Berkshire and Buckinghamshire saw quite the dusting, and a yellow weather warning is in place this evening. Sally is back with me now. Sally, it's funny, isn't it? We saw Dan down there in Peckham where it was just really wet, but earlier Caroline out in the home counties covered in snow.
I know. I felt sorry for Daniel, actually. Nice to be out in snow than rain.
Much better.
Miserable. Yeah, it's been a funny old sort of snow setup, really. It's been really difficult to predict, very uncertain. That's because we've had this boundary between the cold air and that warm, moist air, and it hasn't been clear-cut. So that's why I've been throwing in words like maybe, possibly, uncertainly. So sorry about that. I'm sure that's very frustrating for everyone. But whilst Caroline had all the depressing pictures and the hassle, and there is still some snow around tonight to the north, we've also got the lovely pictures and the kids who woke up this morning so happy with the snow. So look at this. Look at these gorgeous dogs. Aren't they beautiful? That's in Upper Gatton in Surrey. And then look at this dog. Absolutely bonkers. I love that. That's Juno going absolutely crazy. And from one bonkers dog to bonkers person, this person reminds me of you.
Weightlifting, yeah, you'll be lucky.
Out in the snow. Either she's really hardcore or she's got the meanest, strictest fitness.
That's how you get the body, you see. You don't lie on the sofa like me.
Exactly. You will go out in the snow. Is that inspiring you, Duncan?
No, not really. Going to get under the blanket.
Well, you're going to need your blanket tonight, Duncan, because it's going to be chilly. And there's a bit of snow, but a lot more rain. Here we go.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. Well, someone else who's been having fun in the snow today is young Manny here, who very smartly apparently normally loves cricket, but he swapped his cricket balls for snowballs. Perfect. Hopefully he enjoyed it, because that snow isn't going to last. We've still got a warning in place to the north of our part of the world for the risk of snow and ice tonight and into tomorrow morning. But generally, we're more likely to start seeing showery rain in many areas tonight and tomorrow. And it's going to be a little bit less cold tomorrow, but there is a bit of a wind chill. What's going on? Well, we've had this cold air coming down from the north, bumping into that warm, moist air coming up from the south. On that border, that's where we've had that snow, but you can see tomorrow that warm air continues to move north, and that's why the risk of snow diminishes. So let's take a look at tonight. Well, there's the warning in place. Still a little bit of snow coming through, but many areas getting quite a bit of rain out there. And then there's a gap for a time. It's going to dry up a little bit. It's going to be cold, though, overnight. Some areas could see a bit of frost, and we have got the risk of ice, particularly where it's been damp and chilly. But tomorrow generally gets off to a bit of a chilly, murky start. And again, could see a touch of snow, but most areas seeing some showery rain moving through. Some of those showers could be a bit heavy, but also there'll be some breaks in them. It should be a little bit brighter tomorrow than today. Our temperatures are up, highs of 8 or 9 degrees. But we have got a bit more of a breeze out there, giving a bit more of a wind chill. And then into the evening, not much change. I'm afraid if you're heading out, there are still showers moving through. So as we head into Friday, a bit of a damp start, but an improving day and a really cold night as we head into Saturday morning. And there may be some snow later into Saturday night. We'll keep you posted. See you later.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Thank you, Sally. And that is it. Lucrezia is here next with the national and international news. But from all of us in London, thank you for watching and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.